This is Lesson 1 in Europe, Italy and Russia. Our boot and circus bear pictographies. Italy extends into the Mediterranean Sea as a long peninsula and includes not only the larger islands of Sicily and Sardinia, but also about 70 smaller islands as well. Sicily is separated from the mainland by the Straits of Messina. Within its territory are two independent states, San Marino and the Vatican City. In the northeast is Italy's largest plain, the Plain of Lombardy, which is drained by the Po River. The Po River, at about 400 miles long, is Italy's longest river. Running along the west coast from Genoa to Naples are a series of lowlands separated by mountains and plains. This region, along with the Plain of Lombardy, has Italy's most fertile soil. The ancient Roman civilization began about the 9th century BC on the Italian peninsula as a small agricultural community, but later developed into an enormous empire existing for 12 centuries, engulfing the Mediterranean and beyond. In Rome, the capital city of Italy, we find many remnants of ancient Rome, including the Roman Colosseum, one of the most famous landmarks and tourist attractions in the world. The city of Rome surrounds the Vatican City, which is a separate sovereign state where the Pope lives. The great city of Florence, Italy, is considered the birthplace of the Renaissance, where from the 14th century through the 16th century, there occurred a reawakening in an explosion of art, literature, and science. The city of Milan is Italy's first city of commerce and is one of the most highly developed urban cities in all of Europe. The Alps Mountains form Italy's border with France, Switzerland, Austria, and Slovenia. Italy has some famous active volcanoes, like Mount Vesuvius, near Naples, which buried the city of Pompeii in AD 79, Mount Stromboli, north of Sicily, and Mount Etna on the island of Sicily. Most of Sicily is a plateau between about 600 and 1,600 feet, with higher mountains to the north besides these isolated volcanic peaks. This is Italy's flag. Italy became a nation-state in 1861. In the 1920s, Benito Mussolini became a fascist dictator who later led Italy into World War II as a friend of Hitler's Germany. Italy was defeated in the Second World War, along with all other Axis powers. Italy is a founding member of the European Union, and today has superb transportation systems, connecting it with the rest of Europe. Russia is by far the world's largest country. It extends almost 6,200 miles west to east and about 2,500 miles north to south at its greatest extent. It is almost twice the size of the next largest country, Canada. It is so big that it spans 11 time zones and 2 continents, Europe and Asia. Vast plains cover much of Russia's territory, while mountain ranges are found mainly in the eastern and southern regions. The Ural mountain range, known as the Stone Belt, runs north-south through Russia and is considered the natural boundary between Europe and Asia, dividing Western European Russia from Eastern Asian Russia. The Urals, aka the Stone Belt, happens to be the belt found on our Russian circus bear pictography, while the brown bear itself is a popular national symbol of Russia. The Ural Mountains are rich in important minerals such as coal, iron ore, lead, and copper. Moscow is the capital city of Russia. The Kremlin, which is now used as the central seat of Russian government, was a fortress built within the city of Moscow in 1156. Moscow has a world-renowned circus formed over 200 years ago by royal decree, which features none other than dancing bears. Interestingly, the Kamchatka Peninsula, represented as a salmon in our circus bear pictography, is one of the world's last major strongholds for native salmon. In fact, up to 1/4 of the world's Pacific salmon originate in the rivers of the Kamchatka Peninsula. The Volga River, Europe's longest river, flows from northern Russia into the Caspian Sea. Siberia makes up about 70% of Russia's territory, but less than 20% of Russia's people live in Siberia. Siberia is a vast, bleak region. Lake Baikal, known as the Blue Eye of Siberia, is not only the deepest lake in the world, but it is also the largest freshwater lake by volume. The first Russian leader to use the title of emperor was Peter the Great, who founded the city of St. Petersburg in the early 1700s. This is where the Russian royal family of czars resided from 1713 onwards. Its location near the Baltic Sea enabled St. Petersburg to become a trading power and major cultural center of Eastern Europe. Today, St. Petersburg is Russia's second largest city. A system of rivers and artificial waterways link St. Petersburg in the south to the Caspian Sea. Soon after Russia, with its imperial household, was overthrown in 1917, the Communists, under Vladimir Lenin, seized power and formed the USSR, with Russia at its core. Stalin strengthened communist rule and Russian dominance of the Soviet Union at a cost of tens of millions of lives. Between the mid-1940s and the early 1990s, the Soviet Union and the United States were the world's two rival superpowers, engaged at the time in what is known as the Cold War. Mikhail Gorbachev introduced openness and restructuring in Russia, which inadvertently released forces that, by December 1991, splintered the USSR into Russia and 14 other independent republics, marking the end of the Cold War.